And I started to get into loading PAs in and setting up sound systems for raves, the early starts of rave culture. And then that exposed me to like jungle music.
Wow.
And
What's good, lovely people? Welcome to another episode of Den Devine Sessions. This is recorded live from Den Devine, a music venue right here in Broadbeach, Gold Coast, Australia. I'm your host, Joseph Brown, a musician, a creator, and a passionate advocate for all things music. With years of experience on the stage and behind the scenes, I'm here to bring you stories from the heart of the music industry. Whether you're an upcoming musician, a seasoned pro, or dedicated music fan, this podcast is for you. Let's get into the episode.
It's Den Devine time.
Den Devine.
Den Devine.
Den Devine time.
Brought to you by Vemu.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Den Devine Sessions. We are here on a beautiful Sunday in the Gold Coast at Broadbeach. We're going to have a lot to talk about because I'm here with an absolute just pioneer, sound system. And just an absolute all-around legend. Tiki Taane is in the house. How are you, bro?
Kia ora, my brother. I'm very well, thank you.
Very well.
Good to see you. Good to be here. Gold Coast, what up?
Yeah, man. So, wow. Absolute pleasure and honor to have you in to be a part of some of these sort of earlier episodes. And, we've had a nice big weekend and heaps of changes happening. And I know it was sort of like, I don't know if we should continue with this because we've got all these changes and all these sort of things happening. But I'm glad that we got to sort of come to have this conversation because I think the industry sort of, this is where it's at the moment, right? It's you win some, you lose some. Like, of course, I'm going to go all around those sort of topics here. And, I appreciate you sort of taking your time to come through and, to be so supportive through all of these sort of things, bro. So, yeah, start off with that, man. Like, appreciate
Cool,
you, bro.
No, thank you very much. And, yeah, it's good to be over this part of the world. Sunshine Coast was mad. We did that on Friday. That was madness. It was so cool. And then here we are. Surfers Paradise, ready to rock it again.
Yeah.
This awesome venue, by the way. I love this venue. Shouts out to all the venue crew, Dan, everybody. It's awesome to be here. Can't wait to rock the stage later today.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome, man. And so a big part of this this initiative we're trying to do with talking to people from all levels of the music industry, of course, from upcomers all the way to veterans like yourself.
Veteran.
Yeah.
Love it. Koro.
Kaumatua. It's to obviously try and just gain some insight. I know everyone sort of sees the music industry as all love and rainbows and, everything. I get it. There's two sides to the music industry. And it's not saying that I want to talk about all the negatives, but I guess to get people into the reality of the music industry, and I want to take it back to the start. If that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah?
cool. Yeah.
What got you into music, bro?
Well, it's pretty simple, really. It was just the way it made me feel, if you break it down. I remember being a kid and listening to the radio, and this is way before the internet, and watching TV, and there'd be very few music television stuff on TV, and then I'd have my VCR ready to record, and then the videos will come up and I'll push record. Yes, and I got it. And so I'd make my own mixtape. Same with radios as well, right? You'd have your cassette tape in the radio and you listen to the radio and you wait for your favorite song to come on and record it. And so it was like total dubbing down music, streaming for free vibes, you know what I mean? So I'd just listen to this music, and then I started going, well, how come the music comes out these speakers? How does this work? And how come it's like you can't even see this thing, but it makes you feel amazing? And it can make you feel happy, make you feel sad, make you feel empowered. It can just do all these incredible things. So I started to just go, I really want to be able to make this stuff. How do you make this stuff? And my dad was playing the acoustic. I remember when I was a little kid playing the acoustic. Then my sisters, I've got two older sisters, and they started playing the acoustic as well. And I remember thinking, man, when I'm big enough, I want to be able to do that. And so when I got to about the age of 9, I could actually pick up a guitar and start strumming it and playing. And then I just started listening to the radio, and I got to the point where I could improvise. And by the time the song's finished, I'd already worked out the song. And so I knew I had this kind of thing where I could hear stuff and kind of mimic it and play along to it. And then I was about 13 years old and discovered things like NWA, Public Enemy. So I started discovering hip-hop, real gangster hip-hop, and then I started going down the route of Metallica, Slayer, Sepultura, and then going really dark into Carcass and Cannibal Corpse, and just going into this really expansive kind of like musical taste.
Yeah.
And then, of course, reggae I've always been a huge fan of. So Bob Marley was always a number one for me. And so I just was like, I want to make music. How can I make this happen? And then I started a band when I was 14. And then I was on stage playing in pubs at 15.
Wow.
And then I realized when I was 15 years old in this punk thrash heavy metal band that we were just not going to make any money, because it was this, it was just me on the guitar yelling, rah, like just going crazy. And I had my bros playing drums, bass, guitar and stuff. And then I realized the person that was making the money was the sound engineer. The person mixing it, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, I need to learn how to do that. So I started hanging around sound guys and sound girls back in the day in Christchurch, and I started learning that stuff. And then through that process, I started to be able to mix other bands, or my friends' bands, right? So we'd play gigs, and then I'd mix all the bands, but then play myself. So I started to get really involved in that. And then that was about the time when rave music started hitting New Zealand. And so I'm talking 92, 93, 94. And then I started to get into loading PAs in and setting up sound systems for raves, the early starts of rave culture. And then that exposed me to like jungle music and bass culture music, techno and happy hardcore and all that kind of stuff.
Hardcore.
Yeah, all that stuff
that
was happening. And, the New Zealand was the underground scene, the illegal raves, the parties that were happening. So I got this massive experience and kind of like, what's the word? I was just this in it, all this music. And by the time I was 18, I was mixing, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and playing in my bands as well. So I was doing like rave music, setting up for DJs and sound systems and bass culture stuff. And then I was also doing punk, heavy metal, and also hip hop scene in Christchurch started building. And then doing things like mixing country and western bands on a Sunday.
Crazy.
So I was just getting all this experience. And then a band called Salmonella Dub picked me up when I was 19.
Oh, that was Salmonella Dub.
Yeah, and then that was it. I was off touring the world and spent 11 years with that band. In the meantime, I also linked up with Shapeshifter, who's a live drum and bass band, who turned 25 this year. So I've been doing their sound for 25 years.
Wow.
And in between all that, I've been doing my stuff and, the one-man band thing, and then emceeing and DJing and all that kind of stuff. So it's been an amazing journey to get to where I am today, and I'm 47 years old.
No way.
Yeah, I'm 47 years
I
old.
don't believe that, man. Are you serious?
Music keeps you young guys.
Yeah.
Young guys out there and girls. So it's just like, I'm coming up to my 31st New Year's Eve in a row performing and doing gigs. That's in a row, 31. So it's just like constant. And I've been at it for that long and loving it. And I'm just loving every experience of it. And it's just always been a vehicle to travel and a vehicle to meet people. And it's been the most amazing way to express myself. Music can heal, it can connect, it can empower. And it's a really good way to get, if you're pissed off about something, you can just lay it into a song. You can just really do incredible things through music, and it's a powerful spiritual medium when you break it down.
Yeah.
And that's something that I really love about it, and that's what keeps me going now. It's why I'm here, to play music and to meet other musicians and people in the scene. I met this young band tonight called the Gypsy Bandits, and they've got some cool things going on, So So yeah, cool. It's great.
Yeah,
I love it.
man. And I always wondered what came first, the production or the music. So
Yeah.
it was obviously the music came first, and then the production came through. And did you have a love for production, or was it like a sort of thing that you just fell into, or were you like back to that first story of that, you know, playing the tape and doing all the mixing and that sort of stuff? You know, what like about the soundscape and about the frequencies? Like, do you like the science of production and
Yeah.
mixing? Is it, or is it the listening experience?
It's everything, you know. Like, I remember being a kid around 6 years old and listening to the radio, and I had a piece of paper out and I had a pen, and I would just listen to the music, and whatever song it was, I'd just draw and draw. And I don't know what it was, right? And then now, you know, when I first saw a sine wave and started making digital music and seeing a sine wave, I was like, well, that's what I was drawing when I was 6 years old.
That's crazy.
Just drawing these things. And so I've always been fascinated with sound, music, frequencies, and as I said, playing it, recording it, producing it, messing with it, you know. It's just been one of those cool things. Because, you know, it's like you can't see it, right? It's this magical thing you can't see, but it can affect so many people on the most profound ways. And it can save people's lives, you know. It's some people can, you know, I've been lucky enough to have incredible fans, and sometimes they reach out and say, man, your song saved my life. Like, I was in a dark place, you know, contemplating taking my life, all this stuff, but your song and the lyrics have pulled me out of that. And when people tell you that shit, you're just like, holy heck, you know. It's deep, man. It's
crazy, man. Like, you know, I talk about that quite a lot. Is the most interesting thing with music is exactly right. It's invisible. It's not tangible. Definitely, it's the product is a feeling, and it's a memory. You know, people getting taken back to that time. Like, you know, it's funny just me being here, have this conversation with you, been able to have this conversation, because you're in a lot of my childhood memories. You know, and you know
positive.
what I mean? Positive, yeah, man, of course.
Yeah, awesome.
But it's just there, like, it's, you know, you're always on the TV, always on the rage, seeing the Salmonella Dub and then Tiki Taane, and, you know, but
awesome.
That's the thing, man. It's the tangible aspect is not there. But the memory of when things were a bit easier, when you were young, and, you know, and there's Tiki Taane coming through, and then now all these years later we have this conversation, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome, mate.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really cool. Like, music can put you in a time and place. Yeah. And, you know, you'll hear a song for the first time, and it might, you know, and it always, 20 years later or whatever, it takes you back to that feeling and that emotion and those memories, whether it be with family, friends, or an adventure or something that's going on in your life. And so music, it's like it's a residue, you know, and it
residue
can, like,
is a great word.
It has this thing, you know. And for me, like, you know, I still listen to stuff like Jimi Hendrix. When the first time I heard Jimi Hendrix, who's like my number one musician that I love, and I just would, you know, this is before, you know, internet, where you could see all that stuff on the internet. You would actually have to go and hire a VCR, go to the local, video before DVDs and stuff like that. Yeah, and you'll get this, say you put it in, and you've only got it for 3 days or a 24-hour high, and you binge watch it. And if you were lucky enough, you'd get another VCR player and you'd dub it off onto that one, and you'd have like an illegal copy of it, you know. Yeah. And so that was, you know, what I kind of grew up on, that stuff. So whenever I hear Jimi Hendrix, it just makes me go, yes, oh my gosh, you know, the first time I smoked cannabis was with Jimi Hendrix, listening to Jimi Hendrix, you know, and like that kind of shit. So it always takes me back to these incredible moments. And so music is powerful. It's extremely powerful, and it's such a joy to be able to do it and perform it and connect with other musicians. Yeah,
man, and like that's the thing is, you know, at the beginning when I said pioneer, to me you are a pioneer. You pushed the New Zealand music scene, I think, where no one ever pushed it, and that's, you know, I know our people, you know, and it's like we're one track minded, you know, and then you're coming out with just music that's just not heard before, completely created by your own creativity, of course, you know, but it just felt that it had no influence. It was influenced purely by music.
Awesome.
Was that
Yeah.
sort of, have I got it right there?
Yeah.
Like, were you like just, I want to make things sound just out there,
Out
or
there, yeah.
you know?
So I got to give shouts out to Salmonella Dub, right? And so they were a big influence on me in making that kind of style of music. You know, like I first started hearing jungle music. A friend of mine started DJing it, and this is, I'm talking 94,
Yeah.
that stuff like that. And jungle, of course, has moved into drum and bass. So when I first heard it, I couldn't understand it. I was just like, what is this music?
Yeah.
But I saw it and heard it in an environment that was awesome, like illegal rave parties and the warehouses and sound systems and lights, and everyone's like, whoa. And it just made me go, okay, it's the culture as well.
Yeah.
And it's a culture of misfits and kids who don't fit in.
Yeah.
And kids of all descriptions. You know, this is before the LGBTQA plus was even a word.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
there's all sorts of funky kids and as I said, outcasts and of everyone, punks and hip hop kids and rave kids were all getting together in these warehouses and getting down to this new music coming out of England that was inspired by Jamaica.
Wow.
Jungle music. And we were
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
it on vinyl that would take 2 months to get to New Zealand. You know what I'm talking
no
about?
tracking code.
Yeah, just like, whoa. And if the DJ would have this one vinyl and you'd go to these raves just to hear that one song or that, and you know, you couldn't have Spotify or anything like that. So it became this kind of exciting thing.
Yeah.
The way that we could get fed this music was you had to be at the venue, at the dance, at the rave, at the festival, at the warehouse, whatever it was, and you'd have to be there to see this DJ who would put on that tune that no one else had. That's why you get the rewinds, right?
Yeah.
Because you play it and you're like, whoa, and you
Yeah.
rewind, play
Yeah,
it again,
yeah, yeah.
bang, play it again, you know. And that was the only time you could hear it
Yeah.
until the next rave, which could be like 2 weeks away, three weeks away. So that's the kind of environment I grew up on.
Yeah.
With music. And nowadays it's really available. You can just like Spotify, YouTube, everything's there. It's there, instant. You can get anything you want right there and then, which is amazing.
Mhm.
But what that does, it takes away the culture. And that's possibly why some of the live scenes are dropping out, because a lot of the youth these days aren't getting their music from here, or you know what I mean? So they're getting it from... So there is no culture. There's no
Yeah.
culture, or
Yeah.
there's a very underground, very kind of a culture that's not brewing like it used to be back in the day. And I've noticed that in the 31 years of doing this. I've seen it kind of woo like that. And so, you know, it's just I guess you just got to roll with it. Technology changes things. The way that we take in music now and the way that we produce it and listen to it and spit it out to the world, and there's so much noise out there now.
Yeah, so
and
much.
and a lot of people are getting caught up on like, okay, how can I sell this music? Oh, let's do some dumbass shit online. It's going to get heaps of hits. It's not even about the music. It's about the dumbass thing you did,
Yeah,
or
it's
whatever
that
it is.
shock therapy, right?
Yeah, for sure. And that's cool. I'm like, whatever's, man. It's
Yeah.
just how it is. But the whole thing has changed now. The landscape has changed. The environment has changed. And it's just a different world, you know.
It is, man, and
Yeah.
you know, obviously it's been, like you said, 31 years. So you've been on the roller coaster. You've seen the ups and the downs and the lefts and the right. Like, you know, what over that 31 years, what's something that you've found, like that you've taken the most value off the industry over the 31 years? I know it's not. There's never going to just be one thing. I get that, you know, but is there something that just sort of like was consistent throughout your 31 years career that just made you keep coming back,
Yeah.
or keep pushing on, or
Yeah, and that is that connection. It's the undeniable connection and the undeniable spiritual feeling that we all get from music.
Yeah.
And it be like whether me as a performer or me as a punter checking out my favorite artist, or an artist I've never seen before, heard before, been going blown away and just being like, holy heck, what just happened there? You know, so that is the one thing that's undeniably always going to be there. And that's why live music is so important.
Yeah.
And it's why it's so important that you get up on stage and you rock the fuck out.
Yeah.
And you and give it all, whether it's 10 people, 10,000 people, whatever it is, you just give it your all, because it's that connection, it's that release, it's that healing, it's that coming together as spiritual beings from all diversities and connecting with this thing that's happening
Yeah.
in real time, that won't happen again until the next time you do it. And it's and that's the thing. It just astounds me every time I perform. It's just a incredible spiritual experience. It's the only way I can explain it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it hits, and some people get it, and some people it doesn't hit, and they don't get it because who knows what they've gone through on that day.
Yeah.
You know, they might not be in the right space. Maybe they're not being open to receive that energy and receive those messages. But maybe they will be next time.
Yeah.
And that's just a cool thing. And so it's a shouts out to any musicians or creative people out there who do that, who put their body on the line and their emotions and just rip it open and just be raw about it. Because
no holding back.
No holding back, because that's a powerful thing to do. It's scary as fuck.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For sure.
But the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And it's authentic and it's beautiful and it's powerful. And that's the stuff that always brings me back to doing this stuff, because I see it everywhere I go. And when I tour the world, I see it all the time. Whether I on stage seeing it and feeling it, or whether I'm on the audience and seeing it and feeling it. Yeah.
Well, and to that aspect of 10 to 10,000, obviously you've done that, right? You've done the whole, I mean, you've played Big Day Out and you've played the big crowds and you've played the 10 people. Like, do you just show up the same every single time? Like, in regards to, like, you giving them, you sing to them as if there is 10,000, even if there's 10.
Yeah, it's generally the same every single gig. Like, you're only as good as your last gig at the end of the day. And you got to treat it like, okay, this is the moment to give it your all. And whether it's, as I said, 10 people, 10,000 people, sometimes when it's just 10 people, you give it even more because it's a different energy, and it might take a little bit longer to break through whatever's going on, that the energy that's in the room, whether it be anxiety, whether it be nervousness, whether it be just people who, but if it's a packed room, sometimes it's this way easier to just go, okay, there it is. You know, like for example, in Sunshine Coast on Friday, we sold that out. Yeah. It was 400 and something people, and they were cooking straight away.
It was wild.
And I just, as soon as I walked on the stage, I knew straight away, okay,
this is one of those
we're there. And sometimes, you walk on stage and go, okay, I know I'm going to have to just put a little bit more oomph into this and really connect and try to get people to that point, that starting point of like bubbling. And so every gig is different, every venue's different, every crowd's different. And also you as a person is different. And so you got to learn to just, whatever the shit that's going on in your day, whatever argument you've had, or whatever, whatever's going on, the tax man is on my case, or I couldn't get a park, I got a parking ticket, all this stuff. Let that go, and you get up and do the job that you're here to do. Yeah. And it's like, make that music, open the space up, make it safe for everybody to feel that. And you're encouraging everybody in the audience to be in that moment, to receive the energy, but also expand on that, so that you can move people in the audience, and they can feel for a moment in time, forget about the shit in their life, and let the music take over and do whatever it needs to do, whether it be healing, whether it be energizing, inspiring, whatever it needs to do.
Yeah, for sure. Man, one thing I loved about your performance is just to set that tone and that precedent straight from the start. This is a safe place. This is a place, whatever you've got going on outside of this, just leave it at the door and let's just let it all loose and dance.
Absolutely, yeah.
Has that been something you like? Is it integrated into your performance?
Yeah.
Just to sort of be like, let's do this.
Yeah,
this is our time.
I've learned how to articulate it.
Yeah.
Just over years of doing it, I always got up there feeling like that.
Yeah.
And going, and then sort of seeing that happen, but then it's taken me years to learn to articulate it, and then also learn to get up stage and actually open with that. And first of all, always acknowledge the First Nations and the custodians of the land and the area that you're in, and you always, that's what I like to do, and just let the Indigenous culture or the people of this area, let them know that I'm thankful and grateful to be in the space, and from my ancestors to their ancestors, we're connecting. So there's that as well, and we call that, it's almost like a karakia, like a prayer in some ways, where you cleanse the space and clear it, so that we can get down to the the business of having a good time and healing and music and connecting. So for me, it's just as important for me to be able to do that for my safety as a spiritual human being, whatever I am, you know what I mean, and also the people in the audience, and it's just kind of clearing the space,
Yeah, like I was just absolutely amazed, and you know, one thing that I think about from that Friday night was, you know, obviously I came up and I'm like, bro, do you want me to do this big intro? Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Tiki Taane. But it was like, hey, let's just let it simmer.
Yeah, I was like, no, it's cool, man.
Yeah,
You just sit down, it's all good, I got this.
Yep. And you're like, but you're so kind because you're like, but bro, did you want to do it? You even asked me, I'm like, no, I'll let you do your thing, you know?
Yeah.
Which is, you know, so kind of you, because it sort of like shows that's the reason why you still are so here in the industry all these years. It's clearly the kindness and the goodness of who you are as a person.
Well, you know what? I learned from early on in the industry. I've met a lot of assholes, and I've met a lot of awesome people.
Yeah.
And I've been the grommet, you know, entered into this industry at 15 years old, and playing in pubs, you know. So I've seen a lot of stuff and met a lot of like just yuck people, and met a lot of amazing people. A lot of amazing people who passed down a lot of knowledge and who supported me. And, you know, on your way up, be nice to everybody, because on your way down, you know, you won't. Yeah. So it's just one of those things. It's like, it's really easy just to be nice and courteous and helpful and just be cool. Don't be a dick.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Don't be a dick. There's enough, you know. It's just that's always been my kind of motto with stuff, and that's why I'm surrounded by really cool people. My sound man, Guy, he's been with me. Well, we've known each other for like 30-something years. So he's been doing my sound all around the planet for a long time. And all my crew and all the people I work with and associate with and all the people who come into my studio are just generally, we're on the same path of just being not dicks, try not to be dicks, you know.
Guy's cool, man. Guy's cool. One thing I said to him, I said, being sound for Tiki, is that like being a bodyguard for Mike Tyson? Or is that like being a lifeguard at the Olympics? You know, because it's sort of like you're as good in music as you are in production and engineering, you know, and because I know that's sort of a big passion of you. So yeah, but Guy was like, yeah, it sort of feels like that, but not really. And I was, but he's so cool, man. You know.
Yeah,
Really cool.
it's the cool thing. You got to have your day ones as well hanging around there. They keep it real.
Yeah.
Like he'll tell me if I'm acting up, and
Nice.
and it's good, and it's like, oh cool, and he'll give me feedback about the set and the gig and the sound, and so we're always tweaking, always learning, you know, doing that, and that's really cool because I want to be able to get better at everything I do. I just want to get better. I want to get better at it. I want to be able to just, you know, push myself and challenge myself, and that's why doing the one-man band thing is so much fun, because every night it's different, and it's like there's no backing tracks, no click tracks. I don't push play on anything. It's all made up in real time on the spot, and every time I do it, it's different. And so for me, that's the exciting part of just being in that sort of flow state of like, okay, let's go. Whatever the mighty power of the universe, let's go. Let's do this and see what happens. And you just got to trust in your ability to do that. And if you screw it up, hey, you just go, hey, sorry guys, I screwed it up, but it's live music. What do you read? Everyone's like, no one's going boo, you know. It's all good. Yeah. And I think that's a really beautiful thing, to be vulnerable on stage, to be raw and honest, and you know, and just do your thing.
Yeah, man. Look, so a big part of what we're trying to focus this session around is obviously shining some light on some of the human aspects of the music, because you know there's all these immortals, right? And people that have, like yourself, been here for a really long time, and I think people just get used to seeing that that all the lights and all of the sunshine and everything like that. But in regards to some of the sort of clouds and sort of darker times in the industry and you know, all that sort of aspect, like, is there anything that sort of, you know, you've picked up along the way to, maybe it's intuition, maybe it's lessons from the past or anything like that? Is there anything that you could sort of give out to people who are coming up, who are trying to sort of, you know, grinding away and that sort of stuff? Is there anything that you've learned along the way? I mean, of course, you've learned probably a few things, but yeah, anything to...
Well, just nothing is guaranteed. Nothing. It's always in motion. and anything can happen at any time, and you've got to be so fluid and so flexible to roll with anything at any time. And you know, you might have this master plan in your head, and it's going to go like this, it's going to go like this, and it just, something will happen, and it's like, oh my God. So it's good to have visions, it's good to have goals, and it's good to have something to aim for, but it's also really important to be fluid with that, and to go, sometimes things will change, and you'll be disheartened by it, but there's lessons in that.
Yeah.
And you got to look at those lessons and go, okay, don't need to know why. Why did that happen to me? It's like, okay, well, this has happened. Okay, change my perspective, change my attitude. What can I learn from this? So that if anything happens again in the future, you're alerted to that and go, okay, that's what happened at some point. So I've got to be prepared for that. And da, da, da. So it's like it's a really cool thing about this music thing. Is like nothing's guaranteed. It's risky, and that's why I like doing it, because I'm a risk taker.
Yeah.
Before I really got into music, I was mucking around in gangs, stealing cars, selling drugs, doing all the bad shit because it was fun.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it was fun, man. Breaking the law was fun.
Yeah.
And music for me is like breaking the law. It is.
Breaking the law of physics.
Yeah, man. Just breaking, like, being a rebel. This is
Yeah.
a platform where I can spout off some political shit if I want to.
Yeah.
I can go in on some dark shit that's happening around the world. I can do that, you know, and it feels good. It's rebellious.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what I love about it. It's risky. And so it's not for everybody, this music thing. It really isn't. If you like security, and if you like safety, and you like mediocre, and you like beige, then this ain't for you. You know, this ain't for you. This is a interesting, warpy, freaky, risky, unguaranteed lifestyle. And if you're ready to roll with that, then you're going to have the most amazing experiences ever in your life. And you're going to be so fulfilled. And you're going to be so like, wow, like, you know, because it is a crazy up and down thing. The pendulum swings like this. And you've just got to learn to ride it all and come out the other side even better human being than when you went into it. So it's an incredible journey, and it's an incredible experience. And at the end of the day, another thing is I see a lot of young artists who are waiting for something to happen, and who are expecting and have expectations, and you just got to forget about that, and you just got to do your thing, and you got to find your space and park your car in that space, and you just go for it, and you don't wait for, say, an agent, or you don't wait for a manager, or you don't wait for the festival to book you. You don't do any of that stuff. You just do your thing, and if you're not getting booked, then you work, well, I'm just going to go out and make my own thing, make my own parties. I'm going to do my own house parties and then warehouse parties. I'm going to do my own shit. Yeah. You know, you don't have, you be like, well, no one's booking me. It's like, who cares? Make it happen.
No,
get off your ass and go out and make it happen. You know what I mean? And so that's another thing I'm really proactive about, is making shit happen.
Yeah.
Don't be restricted by anything. And if you're not getting booked for festivals, don't worry about that. Just make your own thing happen. Like, try to do things that are outside of that scope, and push it and push it. Everybody's got friends in the band. You could do a house party, charge your friends $10, BYO, get in here, start, you know what I mean, start building it. And all of a sudden, you've got like, holy shit, we've got 300 people in here. Okay, we need to move this to a fucking warehouse or something, you know what I mean? And you just build it, and you just take control of the situation and your destiny, and you make shit happen. And then what happens in that, you're creating a subculture, you're creating a scene, and then festival people start going, what the heck's happening over here? And then you've got lots of power to play with, right? And then suddenly you can also go, you turned me down 2 years ago, fuck yeah, you know, or you could go, all right, you want us now? Well, you know, you can. So that's the game you got to play. Yeah.
Man, there's a reason why. Like, I mean, you're definitely there's a reason why you've been here for so long, man, in the industry, and you're reaffirming what I'm saying, because all of these words you're saying, all of these, be a rebel, and this is what it takes to be Tiki Taane. Because I'm sure you've built that model. where you've pushed it.
I've got great, as I said before, got great friends around me.
Yeah, of course.
My sisters are amazing. My sister Nina Kay runs my company.
Yeah.
My other sister Maureen runs my merchandise. My mum is on the internet, taking care of fake pages and trolls and scammers.
Yeah.
You know, so I've got like a great team around me. So that allows me to be this kind of rebellious kind of like,
Yeah.
but you know, it gives me sort of like more courage to go out and do these things that are unknown.
Yeah.
And it's great. You know,
Yeah,
it's
man.
great. It's not for the faint-hearted. That's
For
the
sure.
thing. And you get a lot of things like, you know, it's like people think they go, how do you measure success? You know, some people go, oh, it's been on TV or it's going viral or that's great. That's what you measure. That's cool. You know, for me, the success is being able to write, perform, release, produce, own all my own music, and being able to share the prosperity of that with all the good people in my life, with other young bands coming through, with you know, and still maintaining that integrity of who I am as a person and not bending for anything.
Yeah.
That to me is success, right? And I'm not, if you stay on that path and you stay on that vision and that energy, then it will pay off in the end and things will start coming towards you at the end. It's tough though. Like, you know, I was living it tough for many years,
Wow.
you know, but you learn to live like that and you learn to rock out like that, and it's so much fun, so much experience. And then it wasn't until my son was born that's when I kind of went, oh shit, I should probably put a bit more of a business hat on.
Yeah.
And that's when I started thinking about my production company and my studio, and started thinking about that stuff, and then that's turned off into where it is now. But yeah, just follow your heart, follow your vibes, be unique, be original, and don't be a dick.
And I want to get to that your studio, because I know it's an amazing studio. I'll get to that in a second. But before we get into that, you know, back to the human aspect. Like, are there any? Do you have any, like? I mean, you probably do, but like any crazy like horror gig stories or things like this?
Oh yeah,
when
I got arrested, I performed a gig, and it was me and my DJ, and it was packed out venue in Tauranga, maybe 400, 500, rocking out. It was going off, and I was emceeing, and the police walked in, and I was like, should we do it? He said, yeah, do it. So we dropped Fuck the Police by NWA. And I got the crowd to sing, fuck the police, fuck the police. And the crowd went, ah. Lasted about 38 seconds because we had it all on cameras. The police didn't like that. They went away and got a paddy wagon, and then they came in and arrested me, handcuffed me, walked me out through the audience. And then that sparked off the riot. All of a sudden, people were like, fuck that. And then another 16 people got arrested. And I got thrown in the cells. And I was like, okay, that's freedom of speech. Totally, you know, I'm gonna fight this. So I called my lawyer. We built this case. Got a private investigator. Got all the statements and everything like that. Got all the footage from all the cameras. And at the end of the day, the police dropped the charge.
Amazing.
We had a negotiation,
So
actually. We had 3 negotiations. And they wanted to meet up, and they were like, okay, we need to talk about this because it's not looking good for them. We had a smoking gun, which is a recording of the police talking to me and saying stuff that was like, So anyway, had all the stuff. So went to, we're about to go to court, and the head of police in New Zealand got hold of me and were like, okay, what do you want to make this go away? We should have a mediation. And we had a mediation, and we had 3 sessions. It was really interesting, you know, sitting down with the police, a mediator, me and my lawyer, and we talked about it openly and put everything on the table. And at the end of it all, you know, as the police did a sort of a public apology, and they paid for my private investigator, lawyer fees, and they dropped the charge and said it was a misunderstanding and all that kind of shit, which is pretty interesting because it could have gone either way. And so that was a fucking hell of an experience.
Yeah,
I tell you what,
would have been,
so
especially from a gig. Have you done it again?
Yeah. I did. Like after that, every gig I did, they'd roll up with a paddy wagon. and be out the front doing this whole, fuck, so drop it again, drop it again, drop it again. You know, because I was just like, fuck, yo, this is freedom of speech.
Yeah.
There was no drama, no one got violent, no one got arrested.
Yeah.
I busted into a song that the cop didn't like. It hurt his ego. He went away, got a paddy wagon to try and teach me a lesson.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's not illegal to
Yeah.
sing "Fuck the Police."
No.
It's a song by NWA.
Yep.
Great song, one of the most controversial political songs there is.
And it's real.
Came out in 1989, I think. When I was, I was pretty young when it came out. I was around 12 or something like that, and a powerful song. Was it right that I did that? It's up to you. But at the end of the day, I can do that legally within my rights to be able to perform that song. Now, I knew that I could do it in a way that wouldn't incite a violence, wouldn't incite riots. I just knew we're having some fun. Let's go about the police. And then I was out of that within 30 seconds, sang it. I went into, I shot the sheriff, but I did not shoot the deputy. Did that, and then I rolled out of that with, whoop, whoop, that's the sound of the police, whoop. So I made it kind of like a compilation of these police songs, and, it was fun.
Yeah.
But obviously, this police officer, who no longer works in the police, by the way,
That's good.
he got caught stealing money.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's that.
Far out.
Yeah, he's that kind
What
of
a
cop.
twist.
Yeah, what a twist. So that was, going back to your question, that was probably the most extreme out of it experience ever. Yeah,
Man, that's what that would have been. I'm sure you've got a few others that.
But that one takes the cake of the most weirdest situation.
Yeah.
Especially being handcuffed and walked out in front of the crowd.
And it would have felt a bit scripted, eh? Like
it was
felt
like, holy
this
shit.
is happening.
And then that's what kicked off what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's what kicked it off. So
That's crazy, man.
There you
That's
go.
crazy. That's an awesome story, though. I like that story. And how about like I won't say best experience, because I'm sure that there's just not one best experience, but in regards to an experience that just sort of maybe left you speechless, or where you were sort of like, wow, this is crazy, was it like that first big day out gig, or was it like first?
So many, man, so many. That's the thing. It's just so blessed with all these incredible experiences. The Big Day Out tour was incredible. If you got that, because you'd start in Auckland, I'd go Auckland, Gold Coast, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, and end in Perth. And if you got all of those, it was next level. And in Melbourne, Ken West, who owned the Big Day Out, rest in peace, I think he passed away. He'd in Melbourne throw, 25 grand, whatever, at the bar. And if you were an artist, you could all go to this bar and just drink and get on the piss. And so there were moments where you're in this bar and you walk in and there's like Metallica, there's the Stripes, there's Chemical Brothers, there's, it's wild, like a bar like this. And you're just like, this is the most fucked up fucking situation. And I remember having an incredible in-depth conversation with James Hetfield from Metallica.
No way.
And he had his bodyguard there. And his bodyguard's this big Māori dude who at that time had been with him for 11 years. And the reason why, because I asked him about it, I said, like, whoa. Yeah. And he's like, well, because James had just stopped drinking alcohol at that point. Wow. And I was like, wow, man, your bodyguard, he's killed it. And he was saying, yeah, well, the bodyguard is basically to stop James from beating people up.
Because of that?
Yeah, that's what James said.
Oh.
He said, I just drink and beat people up. It's like, so it's stuff like that. So the Big Day Out for me was next level. It was one of the most incredible tours you could get on. Foo Fighters, all that kind of stuff. They were all there on this tour, and you'd rub shoulders with these guys backstage and girls, and it was just like, what the shit? This is crazy. So, I miss those days. They were great festivals. Yeah.
Did you get to have like a little bit of personal connection with any of those big bands, or were they pretty like?
Well, what was cool is like, this is a cool story. So I met James Hetfield, and we're talking at that party for a bit. And then he was asking what I did. I was like, I'm in this band, Salmonella Dub, blah, 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 blah. And we kind of play, dub, reggae, jungle, drum and bass, rock, punk, all mixed together. And he was really interested in it. And then anyway, we did Adelaide, and then we did Perth. And when we did Perth, I remember rocking out in the boiler room. And then my sound man was there, and we're rocking out. And then standing next to him was Lars Ulrich and James Hetfield watching us play. And I remember going, what the fuck is this? This is what reality I'm in right now. And they're like, nodding away, doing their thing. And
Crazy.
but the cool thing is they turned up right when we did the peak of our set, when we're doing the most gruntiest, heaviest, in-your-face piece. So I'm glad they turned up for that part and not the love songs that we were doing. And that was just a mind-blowing experience, seeing that happen. And so there's stuff like that. And that's the cool thing about this music thing. It takes you off on these adventures that you just don't even think are possible.
For sure. So a big part of course that we like to try and sort of shed a bit of light on is the music industry is made up obviously of musicians, venues, and music lovers. These are what I believe are the three most important aspects of music. Of course, you got business and all that sort of stuff, but without those three, there's really not much to work with, right? If you have no venues, or when I say venues, I'm just any venue. To me, a venue is a place to play music. It doesn't matter if it's in a field or whatever it is. And the thing that we want to sort of shine the light on, especially in today's forecast of the music industry, is I guess how people can just improve a little bit on those aspects, on how they can show up and how they can support the music industry, because there's obviously a lot of struggle. You've probably heard the amount of festivals shutting down left, right, and centre, and venues. I think last year there was, in Australia, there's 4,500 venues, and I think 1,200 closed last year. And these are APRA venues, so they're actual paying venues towards artists and everything. One of the things, again, is to just shine a bit of light on that. So if you could talk to not just one venue, but all sort of venues and give some advice on how they can embrace the music industry, embrace artists, both small and upcoming, what would you say to just all the venues out there?
To the venues, gee, man, it's tough, you know.
Oh, yeah, man,
I used to own a pub as well, so I know how tough that is.
For sure. What pub?
It's called the Grand in Palmerston North. It was great. It was one of those impulsive buys. Don't want to talk about it. No, it was great. It was
just after you met James Hetfield, you're like, I'm going to buy a pub.
Yeah, I'm going to buy a pub. Yeah, it's tough, you know. And as I said, everything's a pendulum like this. And there's ups and downs. I think it always starts off with the community and the culture. And it falls also on musicians as well. Like, yeah, for sure venues, but musicians, if they can support each other and if they can go to each other's gigs and if they can collaborate and if they can try to build some sort of scene and culture, where it just start off with your close friends and then it goes out to their friends and their friends. That is how it all starts. And that is how I think you can really create a healthy community within that space. And now venues and artists need to connect too, and they need to work together on how to do that. At the end of the day, people want to come and experience something, whether it be music, and meet new people, hang out with old friends. So venues create a space for that to happen. And so if we can kind of get all of those things lining up together and also be prepared to, sometimes it might be, okay, do we drop ticket prices down so people can afford it so that when they come here, they can have a bit of extra money to buy some booze? Because booze is expensive now, right? And that's the alcohol industry just squeezing a little more out, and adding things up. And so the venues have to then bump their prices up so that they can at least, break even and try to pay the staff and the hire and the power and all the things that go on. So it's a tough situation to be in, and it's like everything's getting squeezed and squeezed and squeezed. And so if you can create a community, and if you can create a healthy community where people can support each other and support each other's bands and support the venues, and if the venues can also maybe look at, okay, well, how can we, because you want bums on seats. At the end of the day, for me, when I do gigs, I try to keep my tickets as low as possible, because I'd rather play to a packed house where people have a little bit extra money to have a good time, get some food, get some drinks, and than put my prices up and then possibly going, oh shit, no, we haven't paid, So you kind of got to look at things like that as well. And it's at the end of the day, you want to play to people.
Yeah.
And you got to get the people there. Some people can be such, just moaning people about ticket prices, about this, about that, and it's like, oh God, So it's a tricky balance to find. But I believe if you can find that and working with venues and everything and artists and build that community, then you can really, you've got something positive to start with, for sure.
So that's just amazing advice, bro, for sure, 100%. And that's, we're talking about people now, right? So you got venues, music, now for the punters. Obviously one thing I know is music etiquette or crowd etiquette, showing up on time, showing up and supporting the support acts instead of just coming for the main acts and that sort of stuff. I think it's really important that people understand the amount that goes into a show and that it's an entire machine that needs to all be there to work for the greater good, right, of the music industry. If you could say anything to just, again, it's not about individual people, but it's just about audiences to get them more engaged and more supportive. Again, back to that support word. Again, back into supporting the industry and supporting not only their local scene, because of course it's full of all different industries, but how can people show up to complete it? Because it's a holy trinity, right? And if one of those pieces is sort of, out, then it makes that, like that magic on Friday, that was that the Holy Trinity was on. It was all there. If you could just say to, your average person is going to a gig, like, hey, like, give him a hand clap, or, you know what I mean, show up on time, show some love for the support, or, whatever it might be. What could you say to the average punter?
Well, I'd say, I'll take it from a artist's point of view, and when people turn up early, so if you're a support act, first, second, whatever it is, third, if you turn up as a punter to see some of these acts at the start, it just fucking means the world. You know what I mean? It's just the simplest thing you could do is just turn up early and just to be there, even if you're not dancing, if you're not like you're just there, it gives us a like, oh wow, we can play. It feels good. It's like, wow, okay, all this work that we've done as a band or an artist, all these things we've done to build the show up to be able to do it, we can now do it with some real energy because people are here. So that is pretty much the simplest thing that you can do as a punter, and it's just get there early and support the support acts and the local acts and get excited by that. Get excited by going to see something you've never seen before, and be open to that, because people have worked hard and put a lot on the line to create their music and their uniqueness and their sound. And wouldn't it be cool to go see a band that you haven't heard of and you see them and get blown away to the point you're going to go, I'm going to go see them next time. I'm going to follow them on Instagram. I'm going to make note of these guys, and then next time I'm going to bring 3 friends. And you go along, and then you help create that fan base, and you're essentially helping these artists feel good enough and confident enough to keep doing it and keep making music and keep putting their soul and your heart on the line. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to do. Imagine if that band blew up and you're like, I was there for their first, second, third gig, you know what I mean? And it's just been, you're to help you, and you're a part of that. You're actually a part of that process of helping this band manifest their dreams. And I think that's really important, and it's something really easy that punters can do. If you're going to be spending all this money on tickets, you should be, like, you go out for a meal, right? Here's the entree, It's like, you don't just sort of go out for the meal and go, no thanks, straight to the dessert. You know what I mean? It's like,
eat the whole thing.
Sometimes the entree is the best part of the meal.
All the flavour in there.
Yes, and it's like, woo, mwah. So, get out there, guys. It's really easy to do. Like, just plan your night 2 hours earlier. Instead of going, and leaving it late and getting there at 9 p.m. so you miss all the support acts and you see so just get out early, just do it. And not only that, you're supporting the bar, and all the people that work behind the bar and the bar staff and everything like that. And so, just get onto it.
For sure, man. And I think like one of the things missing from the music industry is that exploration, that explorative fan base where they just want to explore new music, you know? Like people are in their comfort zone, right? They're like, I want to see something that I know is going to be good. And I think that part where people aren't exploring new artists, new upcoming artists, and just going for with the blindness of just what's going to happen, you know, I feel like that's a bit missing from the culture of music. Like, would you say sort of?
For sure, and that's just because of the way that we consume music now.
Yeah.
Everything is on the phone. Swipe, swipe, swipe. There it is. There it is. You're never gonna, you know, get the full experience until you're actually there in the moment and watching the band perform, and that is the most coolest thing ever. So I think, you know, this is the way technology is it's kind of put us into this kind of a lot of people into this very safe bubble of like, you know, instead of quite lazy, to be honest. Maybe that's not the right word, but that could be the word.
Could be the word.
It could be the word.
I
don't know.
Maybe overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed. There's a lot of noise out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff coming at you. But yeah, maybe... Yeah, it's just an interesting time to be alive. There's so many positives with the internet, and also there's some weird stuff with the internet, and it can create interesting behaviours for people.
Yeah.
And possibly one of the behaviours that's not so good is that complacency and that laziness and that entitlement, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. I'm just riffing here.
Yeah.
And so, as I said, back in the day, people would turn up early to see these bands, and they would want to see the first, second, third band because that was the only place you could hear the music.
Yeah.
You know, it was the only place. And now we're sport for choice because everything's here on the phone. We could just YouTube it. We could Spotify, Apple Music. It's all there. TikTok, whatever it is, it's all there. So maybe that technology has taken some of that, I don't know, that drive to go out and seek things.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Maybe,
for sure.
possibly. But it's also helped people too.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, it's helped artists get discovered. They might put up a cover or something, and that blows up, and all of a sudden people are going, oh my God, this is the best cover I've ever heard. And then they start playing the original songs, and then that blows up. So, you know, you've got to try and... You know, there's no right or wrong way, but the way to help support the scene is to get bums on seat. People get here early, and you know, you'll be making that support act. You'll be making their day if you turn up early and go, yay! Never seen you guys before, but I'm here to check it out. And afterwards, you can go up and go, that was amazing. That was so cool. I love what you're doing. Oh man, I'm going to come to your next gig, you know, and that means the world to people, musicians.
Yeah,
for
sure. Okay, so we're going to do. We're coming up close to just wrapping this up, but what we want to do is give just 5 quick tips out to an upcoming musician. What's your five besties?
Far out, 5 besties. Don't be a dick. I think I talked about. We covered that one.
Yeah, that's the number one.
I often do talks with mentoring at schools and stuff like that. So one of the sayings I like to say is you can't fly like an eagle if you're knocking around with turkeys. And so
that's a good one.
That could be across the whole 5. At the end of the day, it's all about the circle of friends and the people you surround yourself with. You can't achieve greatness if you're hanging out with people who are pulling you down or just grumpy and negative and just always blaming everybody else and everything else except for, you know, not taking ownership of their shit. And all the cool things I've done, I've been a turkey many times, right? Because I've been in that turkey space. Yeah. And I've also been an eagle and flown to the most highest peaks of my entire life because I've been supported by amazing eagles and people who've done amazing things. Yeah. So if you can stick with that, and if you can surround yourself by positive people who celebrate your wins, who elevate you, and you can also elevate them and celebrate their wins, and give positive energy, and then you can create greatness from that. But if you're on this low-level frequency where you're blaming everything and blaming the industry and blaming everyone, then you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to stay down there.
The manifest that.
Yeah. So if you can always try to rise up above that, then that's it. And that's probably the only tips I'll give you. Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
And try and fly like an eagle, not like a turkey.
Yeah.
There you go.
And obviously one of the other things that we want to go around, obviously, you know, like a dream, because you've done a lot of you've mixed, you've worked with 660, which has been an awesome thing. And is there a band that you like dream that you could do an album with, do their album? I'm sure there is.
Yeah, but they've all died. Jeff Buckley, oh my god,
That was my
Jimi
next
Hendrix,
question.
Bob Marley, oh man, they've all died, dude. So, no, but
That was my next question after this.
yeah, I've done some cool stuff. You know, over here because we're in Australia, produced and helped write Dylan Frost from Sticky Fingers. I did his solo EP. That was really cool because I'm a fan of Sticky Fingers, so that was really cool.
Yeah.
Also, you know, it would be really cool to work with. I'm just interested to work with anybody who's on the same vibe, whether they're established or unestablished. It doesn't matter. Just as long as I'm all about feeling the energy, and it's all about the intent as well. And I just love being in a studio with people and creating stuff, and that whole beautiful thing of like creating something out of nothing into a format that people can listen to and people can rock out to is just an incredible thing. So, yeah, I don't have anybody off the top of my head.
Well, that's awesome, bro. That's
yeah,
awesome.
it just you know, it's a great thing to doing music, and it's given me so much amazing experiences and met so many awesome people like yourself, and you know, the Gypsy Bandits over there, young bloods, yes, and everybody else, and also this venue here. Shouts out to this venue. Looking forward to playing in here as well. So yeah, that's all I got, guys. That's all I got.
And my last thing, man, is dead celebrities, like you just talked about. You could have a dinner with any dead celebrity.
Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix.
Absolutely.
And you have questions, or you just jamming?
I would just be like, would jam for sure.
Jam,
But I'll just have lots of questions. But he was just so cool. The way that he played that guitar, the way that he progressed it into an area that no one else had done. He was light years ahead. And his dress, his fashion, the way he was just super cool. You know, and it's just such a shame that he passed away as early as he did, but holy heck, he just lit a fire.
Yeah.
He lit a fire under so many people, especially me as a young kid. When I first heard of Jimi Hendrix, I was pretty young, maybe 9, 10, and we were going, whoa, you know what I mean? What is this guy?
He's on another level.
Whoa. So, you know, yeah, I'll be happy just to sit with him in his space and just not even ask anything, just watch him play.
Yeah, man, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's been an absolute amazing opportunity and conversation that we've had, man. I really appreciate you taking the time to come here. And, you know, like, we didn't obviously get into why we're here from this afternoon, but that's okay, man. Like, it's cool. I'm looking forward to tonight and back to just taking your advice of just going with the changes and being fluid and all that sort of stuff, you know. And we'll do that for sure tonight and have an awesome gig and all that sort of stuff, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, bro.
No worries. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Bless up. Bless up.
Bro.
Peace. Fly, Eagles. Fly.